A word of caution for those of you out there currently investing in tiny, unproven, or straight up dead card games. Welcome to the Solemn Yu-Gi-Oh channel, where we discuss everything collecting and investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, of course, we also cover investing in cardboard as a whole. As we know, this is a speculative asset. These cards are not productive. They are not a company, and they don't have a use like a piece of real estate would either. So their value is entirely built on what does someone else value it? Is he or she willing to pay more than you paid for it? And all of that brings big risks. If you have a card game, like an MTG, a Pokemon, or a Yu-Gi-Oh! Those are all aged like 2 decades by now. You have the nostalgia factor, and that is powerful. There are people who grew up on these cards who are now willing to pay a premium to have a little bit of their childhood history in their collection once again. Beyond that, a lot of these cards were destroyed over those many years. And so despite their print runs back then being big, a lot of them, you know, were just fucked. Now, in 2020, which has been a crazy year on every front ever, collectibles have been booming. As a whole. Now, obviously not every single thing went up, but a lot of things, most things went up to, some would argue, unsustainable levels. And so while the big winners were Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, where we saw 200, 300, 500, 1000% increases on a variety of cards, I would want to say maybe like 80% of their markets all just up. Some people see that and they go, wait, if Magic can go from a $50 card back in the day to $2,000 now, what if, smart, I buy another card that's currently $50 and maybe that too will go to $1,000? Well, what cards are still $50? Damn. Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, their big cards are all out of my reach. What if I buy Naruto cards? People like Naruto, right? Damn, so surely their cards must go up as well. Okay, I'll go to Naruto, I'll buy all the Naruto cards. No one ever gave a fuck about Naruto cards. Force of Will, hey, Force of Will, I'm gonna buy all the Force of Will cards, you guys. You know, Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Have gone up so much, like 500, 1000% and so forth. Like, okay, sure, they haven't moved at all the past years, but now I'll buy all of them. And now, of course, we also have the Flesh and Blood, which is a completely new card game people are speculating on in like insane levels, mind-blowing levels. And everyone's basically thinking, I'm gonna be early. I'm gonna be early to this one, you know. On MTG, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, I was late, but this time, I'll be early. I'll buy this box at 3,000, because if it goes to Pokemon levels, 300,000, whoa, I will have made so much money. I'm so fucking smart, you guys. Well, here's the problem. If everyone is doing that, how does it work? The only reason all of these items are worth so much is because they had organic demand in the first place. They grew over time. If you go to the vintage Yu-Gi-Oh! Market, it has been growing very strong since the beginning. Well, I would want to say like 2016 is where we started seeing people like go actually ham on it, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Tube and the Old School Expert. Maybe Old School Expert was actually earlier, but a lot of these people started getting a bit louder about that. And so you notice the increases. A Yu-Gi-Oh! Card has been going up, 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 up over time, gradually, at strong percentages, like beating the global and the US stock market percentages, but not unsustainable insanity. Your Blue Eyes went from 500, and after a year to 1,000, and after a year to 1,500. And okay, that is strong growth, certainly, but it's not mania. However, then we enter 2020, and suddenly a lot of collectibles go up, and a lot of collectibles go up hard. And so we see that graph that was already going strong, I'll do it like you, it was like already going strong up, then it suddenly goes bloop, it goes up hard. However, what people are now throwing money at is graphs that were stagnant. They were close to zero. No one ever cared in the first place. And then in collectibles, people suddenly saw, whoa, collectibles are exploding. So maybe I'll be early to this market. I'll buy this thing no one ever gave a single fuck about. And it'll moon as well. And because everyone thought it would moon, they all went for that shit. Here's the problem though. If everyone is buying things of the assumption that everything will go up, things will go up. And people will have this feedback loop of, wow, it'll keep going up because look, so I'll just keep buying higher and higher and higher. However, what if something happens? What if that era of speculation goes away? what happens? There was no organic demand or base level fandom to begin with. Ever. Your entire fandom was speculators from the very start. That is so dangerous. I can tell you right now, I have been active in Cardfight Vanguard for a long time. Cardfight Vanguard was the card game I've probably played the most aggressively, not throughout my life, like I've played Yu-Gi-Oh for longer, obviously. Cardfight Vanguard is only 10 years old now. But that market has never had a collector's market. It just doesn't exist. Are there some collectors? Yes. But there is no collector's market. There is not people trading with each other towards high rarity cards. It's mostly people like me who want a high rarity card in their deck and play with it because it's blinging nice. And so what happens, these cards aren't very expensive. Your high rarity cards or SPs are what, 40 bucks? Okay. Maybe sometimes a card like a RLR or whatever is worth 500 bucks. But never, ever, ever are these cards going to 8,000 and so forth? Because the franchise, first of all, is simply not big enough. And secondly, cards don't go there of utility alone. Again, you always want to look at older, rarer, minter, better. You know, if a card needs to be old and mint so that it's actually very hard to find. Scarcity is really important in collectibles. You're going for that chase. But the bottom line is still demand. I can find a sealed box of cereal that only one person on the world has, but if no one ever was a cereal collector, the box isn't gonna sell for $300,000 because that demand doesn't exist. Now, if some fuckface is gonna show me some cereal box that sold for more, holy shit. Let's be real. Demand is crucial. And if there was none prior to this, let's call it a bubble, you are in for hurting. Now, I am not saying Flesh and Blood will go to zero. I am not saying Force of Will will go to zero. I'm not saying Naruto and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and all of these card games that no one ever gave a fuck about. As far as like the values that we are seeing right now. Like there were fans, obviously, a lot of these franchises are huge, but as a card game, they were never worth thousands or hundreds to begin with. If they are suddenly now doubling every week, you notice, maybe this isn't organic demand. Now, full disclosure, I think some of this is happening in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. And in Pokemon, it's happening a lot. We even saw already these insane declines because of all those speculators leaving. We see this in Magic as well. Everyone just hopes that they can, you know, catch their ride up. Oh no, I'm gonna miss out, guys. I'm gonna miss out on this huge wave. But if I buy now, I'll be in. I'll catch the new Pokemon and the new Yu-Gi-Oh! But the thing is, no. Honestly, no. Like, if Cardfight Vanguard started to be speculated on right now, it never had a collector's market. Just be aware. And there was never organic demand on a decent level for a collector's market. But if that market starts going up, I will sell straight into that shit. I will be so happy. I was like, wow, cards are worth 40 times as much right now. I'll sell, wait for that bubble to pop and rebuy whatever I sold back then. It's that easy. Now, be aware, a lot of these collectibles markets were artificially created in the first place. You could argue that in 2016, MTG was kind of artificially being hyped up by alpha investments and people around that. A lot of these collectible markets are built by market makers in that way. And so it's very possible that with this Flesh and Blood, despite it being entirely artificially made right now, yeah, be aware of that. Like if Rudy tells everyone like, go buy Flesh and Blood, look how much it went up, crazy, like it. It's called alpha. It's kind of like, oh, it feels like MTG, this and that. Like this is absolutely artificially built, but like I commend him for that. Well done, this is amazing. I am a fan of Rudy's. It's amazing to see how these kinds of markets can just be made out of nothing. Do you know how powerful that is? But it's very possible that despite there never having been organic demand, okay, you'll tell me like, oh, but there are players. Yes, but compared to Magic, compared to Yu-Gi-Oh, compared to Pokemon, there are no players, yeah? Like there is no organic demand comparable in any remote way to the big three. It's maybe a distant seventh. So that out of the way before like people get mad and shit. I mean, I know people will get mad. It will already be fucking hilarious to read some of these comments, but it was never established. It didn't gain time to be established. It is now artificially being created, but despite that, it may still mature. It may still establish a market purely built of the hype and the fallout of that hype. So I am very interested in actually seeing if it can. I am interested to see if Rudy from Alpha Investments was able to make this market out of fucking nothing. Because that would be, whew, that would be exciting for me. That is the kind of stuff that warms my heart inside. However, if he can't, and if this crashes and burns, along with all of the other irrelevant TCGs, a lot of people are gonna get hurt. If you are buying Force of Will boxes right now, despite the game being basically on life support, I don't know, buddy. If you are buying the Naruto TCG, equating it to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon because it had a big anime, like, whew, I don't know. I would feel very, very scared and iffy. Now again, maybe it's a huge risk. Maybe suddenly the Naruto TCG or the Dragon Ball Super Special, Super Saiyan Rare and so forth. Like all of these card games that really never had collectors markets and just were ignited with this collectibles bubble. You know, maybe there is some of these that end up doing really well. And again, that would excite me. I want to see those market dynamics. However, I would not gamble on them with my own money. And that is the crucial one here. If you are putting money into these card games that you cannot afford to lose, watch out. Like, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.